Hello, my friends. Difficult times lie ahead of us. I always remind everyone not to underestimate the enemy because even though Russia doesn't have a modern army, they still can do a lot. I remember famous Ukrainian experts stated that the Russians don't have the aviation capable of lifting heavy 3-ton bombs. And today, Russia has once again proven that they still have potential. They see that they are successfully destroying the front line and frontline cities with KAB bombs. They've shown an improved version that can wipe out half a village in one strike. The Russians posted a video of the launch of a modernized KAB bomb. This bomb weighs 3 tons and can easily demolish half a village or 3 to 4 apartment buildings. If the enemy can set up mass production of these bombs, it will pose a great threat to frontline cities. All of this indicates that today all partners must, without any delays, provide several hundred F-16s, even with their pilots, to completely cover the Ukrainian sky. Otherwise, if the Russians break through defense lines that are not fully built, the breaches will be massive. And if Putin gets a taste of victory, he will definitely move on to Poland and wherever he wants. But Stoltenberg said that they will not participate in this war. So NATO will support Ukraine, and we have now increased our support, including through various air defense systems. Of course, F-16s are also important in this context. We will provide more new ground-based air defense systems and ammunition for the systems already in place. This includes Patriot and NASAMS tactical systems, which are extremely important, but NATO's policy remains unchanged. We will not participate in this conflict. We will not become part of the conflict. Meanwhile, the UN has decided to estimate that Ukraine's population will soon be only 15 million. The UN believes that by 2100, Ukraine's population will shrink to 15 million people. Interestingly, in 2019, they predicted 24 million. In 2021, 22 million. And now they are saying 15 million. Very fine organization. And one question is this their forecast or their plan? So, what do you think about this? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Now, briefly about the situation on the front. In the Kharkiv direction, the fight for the village of Gleboke continues. The Ukrainian forces report that our soldiers prevented the Russians from bringing in reinforcements. In Vovchansk, the fighting also continues unabated, with the Russians intensifying their destruction of the entire area with bombs, although they are not yet using 3-ton bombs, but the damage is still significant. The Ukrainian forces report that in Vovchansk, our soldiers have confirmed that they crossed the bridge in a counterattack, and the Russians near the hospital are now summoned Sokolmont. There is no information yet about securing positions to the south and east, but updates are expected. The situation is extremely difficult, but the Ukrainian forces are not giving up and are attempting to turn the tide with counterattacks. The fighting is extremely intense as the Russians continue their assaults daily. In the Kupiansk direction, activity remains high. The Russians are unable to break through to Kupiansk and are conducting offensive actions near Sinkivka, Petropavlivka, Stepova Novoselivka, and Pishane. This situation remains very challenging as the Russians don't reduce the number of shelling, but the Ukrainian forces have managed to hold them back, and the front line hasn't changed over the past day. In the Svatove direction, activity has also increased. The Russians are assaulting Berestove, breaking through near Novoselivsk and closer to Stelmachivka. Further south, fighting for the villages of Makivka and Kharkivka continues. There have been more than 10 assaults in the past day, but the Ukrainian forces have managed to hold their defense, and there are no changes in the situation so far. In the Kreminna direction, the Russians have decreased their activity and are assaulting Terny. There is information circulating on Russian Telegram channels that hundreds of Ukrainian soldiers are allegedly surrendering, but this information is unverified. In reality, the front line remains unchanged and the Ukrainian forces continue to hold their defense. In the Siversk direction, the Russians continue to assault Bilogorivka, Verkhnyokamyansk, Spirne, Vyimka, and Ruzdolivka. Their activity is high, reaching up to 15 assaults per day. Previously, the Russians managed to advance 300-400 meters, but they have had no further success, and the Ukrainian forces are holding their defense. In the Chasiv Yar direction, the situation remains tense. The Russians are destroying the entire area with aerial bombs and actively using FPV drones. And reports of the complete loss of Klishchiivka today have been refuted. Positions in Klishchiivka remain under Ukrainian control, with the Russians attempting to reclaim them, but so far without success. In the Toretsk direction, Russians continue to attempt breakthroughs near Druzhba, and street fighting persists in Pivnichne and New York. The situation is dire, with Russians conducting over 20 assaults per day and maximum intensity shelling. There have been no new changes along the front line, and the Russians are unable to achieve any major breakthroughs. In the Pokrovsk direction, there are over 40 assaults per day, with Russians heavily damaging Mirnograd and targeting rockets at kindergartens and schools. So Mirnograd's outskirts are 15 kilometers from the front line, where Russians are beginning strikes, planning to advance in this direction. In the Kurakhove direction, Russians are storming Krasnohorivka, making advances near the village of Pobeda, and the fighting for the outskirts of Kostiantynivka continues without changes over the day. In the Vuhledar direction, Russians seem to be aiming to reach Velika Novosilka soon. They need this to advance from the southern side for the complete capture of Donetsk region. Therefore, there is a maximum number of shelling recorded here, and offensive actions continue across the fields towards Velika Novosilka. As before, the General Staff reports ongoing battles with no confirmation of Russians fully capturing Urozhaine, and attacks on Makarivka and Vodiane also persist with increased Russian activity, though there have been no changes over the day. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, Russians continue their attempts to break through to Mala Tokmachka, but as before, they have had no success. There have been no changes along the front line here for a long time. In the Kherson direction, Russians are trying to advance towards Kozachye Lagari, periodically storming Krinky, shelling the right bank, and overall attempting to push Ukrainian forces out from the left bank. However, they are not making any headway, and the front line remains unchanged. Despite the tough situation for Ukrainian units there, the bridgehead is very small, and holding off constant Russian attacks is very challenging. And that's all from me. So please don't forget to like this video, like this video, please. Subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye bye.